Hi guys, welcome to another watercolor tutorial. We are painting this beautiful mountain sunset painting inspired by Lolita Ross. So let's just get right into it. I have my piece of paper in portrait position with the borders taped so that we have clean borders at the end. I'm going to take blue, oh my gosh, I have green on my paintbrush. Story of my life. So let's pick up blue, not green. And we're gonna have, let's say like the top fifth maybe is in this blue. And then we're gonna go down probably should have thought about these color choices before hitting record. I just picked up like a lilac and it turned into whatever color that is. And then I want yellow. Now we have to be mindful that there's going to be a section here that we want to keep bright for the sun. Pick up a little bit of orange. I'm going to mix it with brown because I don't like how bright my orange is. And just going to carry that all the way down. And the sun is going to be, just going to fill this in and deal with the sun. The sun is going to be about here. So just going to lift off some paint on both sides. Okay, so we got to work quickly here because we're doing wet on wet. I'm going to mix a little bit of maroon in with brown and black. And that's what I'm going to wisp kind of here. I don't know how I feel about these. I'm going to take yellow, like a darker yellow than I had up here. And I'm just adding that in as well. Again, it has to be wet in order for this to work so that it kind of spreads out really nice. I'm going to pick up like a purple for, ooh, not that purple, yikes, Julia. Mix blue in with that. That wasn't even purple, that was like plum. And the top, unfortunately, has already started to dry here for me. Not good, because we're going to have cauliflowering going on, my friends. I'm going to take a little bit of that orange, or that plum, and plop it on the underside of this lilac color. So this is not exactly working out how I thought it would, because this has dried really quickly, which is my mistake. So I have to re-wet it now. You know what I should have done? Let it dry and then re-wet the whole thing. Because now I'm going to basically cauliflower the entire thing. And I totally got rid of my sun. I'm just using toilet paper to kind of lift off that sun there. Okay, now we've got plenty of water to work with. Almost too much, I would say. So I'm adding a little bit of, well, I wanted it to be orange, but it appears to be yellow to that maroon part. And then I hope this dries to be better looking than I'm seeing it right now, because I'm not exactly pleased with this at the moment. And then do want ugh, what is that? Where is that color that I originally, it was like a purple and blue mixture, and now I'm getting the color of mud. I have to work on painting clouds. That is one thing one of many things that I am still very much, I would say, a beginner at. They give me a lot of issues. I've avoided a lot of paintings because of clouds. But, okay. See, I like what happened down here, but this is all going to be covered up anyway by mountains. So I want this top part to be a little bit darker, but I'm nervous. I don't want to add anything and mess it up. So I picked up some blue that was already on my palette. I think I might just leave it there, because when I'm looking at it live, it does not look very good, but when I look at it through the camera lens, it doesn't look too bad. So let's let this dry and then we can move on to the next step. Okay, so this looks a lot nicer than I thought it was going to look, honestly. So I'm going to take blue now. We're going to work with navy blue if we can. And I'm just going to paint a very rough mountain range here. So there's going to be and I know this is very light at the moment, which is fine because we're going to be going over it, like we're going to have multiple layers. So we have to let this layer dry now. Okay. So that first layer should be dry. I'm going to go in, I hope it's dry. Go in with the second layer here. Oops, it's a little bit thicker than I wanted it to be. And I'm also going to use that same color and just go ahead and paint some pine trees, evergreens. Although I do want them to be a little bit darker, so maybe I should wait until that dries. I'm on borrowed time here, guys. My daughter is awake. And there is only so much time she entertains herself for before she starts crying, so I'm probably going to have to pause this video and finish it later on. As much as I don't want to do that. Okay, so let's let this dry now. Should be dry enough. So I'm just painting a bunch of pines in, it's the foreground, but it's also technically the background because we're going to be painting bigger trees out front in a moment. So you can progressively start making your trees a little bit larger and darker if you wish. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start painting the foreground pines now. So these guys are going to be a little bit darker and larger, not a little bit, quite a bit darker and larger. Now, I have lots of techniques, videos on this channel going over techniques to paint pine trees, so I encourage you to go check those out if you're not comfortable with painting them yet, or you don't have your own technique. Go check those out. I also have a Skillshare class going over 8 different techniques that you can watch and kind of choose one that works for you and refine it. Otherwise, it's quite simple, really. This particular technique, at least, I just paint like a vertical line, and then I have these branches coming off of it with little detailed wisps, and then as I get kind of towards the bottom, then I just have these lone twigs, if you will, sticking off. Okay, so that's good. All right, my next tree is going to be a lot bigger than that. Well, not a lot bigger, probably twice as big. I don't know if you guys, have you ever seen somebody paint a pine tree and you just love their technique, and then you go to try it yourself and it just does not look the same? I have that. Like, every single person that I see paint a pine tree, I am in love with it, and then I kind of watch and try to replicate, and doesn't look anything like it. So I'm gonna say that it's because we have different brushes. But honestly, that may contribute, because like back before I started using the brushes that I currently do by Grabby, and I still use my other ones like my Winsor Newton and my Grumbacher, I use those periodically too, but when I was using those other ones, I was not able to do the same sort of things that I can do with these brushes, which is why I've largely switched to them. The other ones still have their uses too, but I really love how I can paint with these brushes. So I am so hungry. Oh, I really thought I was gonna have a little bit more time. She slept for an hour. Yesterday I got 2.5 hours, so I didn't bother painting because I was like, oh, she's gonna wake up in a half an hour like she has been doing lately. And then she slept for 2.5 hours. So today I was so bold and I was like, all right, I'm gonna paint. And I got an hour, so it's not too bad, but I should have just painted yesterday instead of watering my tomatoes. Priorities. I'm filming this in summer of 2023, by the way, if that doesn't make any sense. You're like, it's March. How do you already have tomatoes? Yeah, I'm way pre-filming this. So, okay. Next tree. This one is going to be the biggest one so far. I don't know if I'll paint another one. I just love how this person painted this tree. I just don't know how to replicate those branches. They look so effortless and beautiful. And I don't want to try too much to do it exactly like hers because there's a good chance I won't be able to, and then I'll kind of ruin this painting because it'll look worse than if I just tried to do my own technique. I don't know why this came up in my head right now, probably because I was thinking about a pacifier, and we've largely phased out the pacifier with our daughter. Like, she falls asleep at night without it, and we never give it to her during the day. The only time we give it to her is during naps, so that she just falls asleep quickly for her nap. And so I was thinking about pacifier use, and we were on a walk and we ran into these people that we kind of knew, and they were asking about our daughter and stuff, and they started saying like, oh, that their granddaughter or their whoever they knew, like, they still use a pacifier and they're 3 years old, or they kept critiquing them on their like parenting, like, oh, this kid still is in diapers and they're 3 or something like that. And being a parent myself and understanding that judgment, like having gone through similar judgment, I was a little bit angry at these people because I'm like, who are you to judge this person's parenting? You have absolutely no idea what they're going through or their reasoning. Like, they might have to use diapers because their child has some kind of condition that you have no idea about, and they're struggling with things way beyond what you may even comprehend, you know? And one of those times that happened for us is when we were on a trip, and this was back when my daughter had eczema and she was scratching constantly. So when we would put her in a carrier, like the one that you wear on your chest, we would kind of put her hands underneath the straps. It's hard to explain, but we basically put her hands underneath the straps so that she couldn't use her arms to reach up and scratch herself. And she was fine, like, it wasn't uncomfortable or anything, but like her hands were like down by her sides, and I saw people like looking and commenting on that, and it was so frustrating because I'm like, you guys have absolutely no idea the hell that we have gone through with this scratching and with this eczema, and you're now judging something that you know absolutely nothing about and do not know the reasoning for why something is done, you know. And having gone through that, I now sympathize so much with parents, because you really have absolutely no idea what they're going through or what their reasoning is for why they're doing what they're doing. So this is just my opinion, but if you ever, you know, judge a parent for something, just remind yourself, I have absolutely no idea what they're going through. I have no idea their reasoning. There could be a perfectly valid reason for why they are doing this thing that I'm judging them for that I would never do for my kid. You have absolutely no idea what this person's going through. So just zip it. That is my little annoyance complaint there. Anywho. I'm leaving part of this tree sort of unbranched, if you will. Oops, I hope that was on camera. Oh, maybe she put herself back to sleep. See, and that's another thing I see. You don't really see this in person because I don't think many people would say this to your face. But on person, you see, online, you see so much judgment about sleep training and how, like, that's so cruel. And while I, as a mother, like, deep down, I want to agree with that because it freaking hurts to hear your child cry out for you at night. But, like, again, you don't know what people are going through. You don't know their situation. If I didn't, because I wouldn't have sleep trained if it wasn't for my husband. That was kind of like, you need better sleep. She needs better sleep. And one of the things that we do is we kind of let her, if she wakes up at night, which doesn't happen very often anymore, but if she does, we'll let her cry for 5 to 10 minutes. And 9 times out of 10, she puts herself back to sleep in like the first 2 minutes. Whereas the times that I have gone in before we implemented this, she would just start crying harder. So anyway, I know I'm going to get a bunch of people that are going to say, we don't care, just stick to the painting. And you know what? You're right. Stick to the painting, Julia. Nobody cares about your unsolicited baby advice. Most of you are seniors, according to my analytics. And I'm very appreciative of you all. I am glad that you enjoy my paintings. So thank you for being here. Okay, I think I'm just going to leave it here. This turned out a little odd, so to kind of mask it, I'm going to just pick up some black here and paint a bird. I know I've kind of defaulted to painting birds recently. There we go. Okay, so we can peel the tape off, and voila, a beautiful mountain painting. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I will be sure to see you in the next one.